Hello, I am Pam and this is my channel, Made by Pam. So today is actually Saturday. I meant to do this video yesterday for hashtag Friday Sews. But you know, sometimes things happen. I'm going to take a little detour. So, what have I gotten sewn this week? I will get to this in a minute. That thing is amazing. Alright, so what I have sewn, I have made bean bags. So I have a couple of bean bag items here, which I still have to fill with beans. So I have the little opening there. So I'm going to fill these with beans. My daughter wanted a bean bag. And these are like a 6x6, I think. Yeah, 6x6, so 6 inches by 6 inches. But then after all is said and done, it's like 5 1/4 of an inch. Yeah, because I cut it 6x6 and then you got the seam allowance on the sides and everything. But yeah. So they're a little bit bigger than most bean bags. Most bean bags would be smaller. Like maybe, let's see, fold it up some. Maybe smaller like that, I would think. But I made it quite a bit bigger. And I did make quite a few bean bags out of another fabric that my son wanted me to make. So I made him some bean bags. I think I made him 6 bean bags, and he gave 2 of the bean bags to his siblings so that he has the others for him to play with. And then I fixed his other bean bags that had a hole in them. And then he lost his favorite bean bag at school. He was sewing it up in the gym during lunch and it landed on a light and he lost his bean bag. Alright. So what else have I been working on? Okay, a while ago I had mentioned that Kathy from Calico Kate, she's such a great lady, she had sent me a Happy Mail box. And in that Happy Mail box, she had sent me this towel. And I had mentioned to her, I don't know, just like right before I got the box, that she needs to show us how to make these towels. Well, that didn't happen, I don't think. I don't know. But she had sent me the towel. I'm like, alright, I got this. I can look at it and kind of, a little bit of, you know, looks a little weird up there. I don't know if I'm going to keep this as a curtain, this backdrop. I might go back to my other one. It's pretty. I love it. I got it out of its storage spot while I was cleaning my room. And it's like, oh, I need to use these for a pair of pants. This would be awesome. And I was doing something, I'm like, you know what, I need a change of a backdrop, so I'll just use this. And it's like a king size sheet. And so it's very big, and it's touching the floor, which is fine that it's touching the floor, that's no big deal. But I think I would rather wear it than have it as a backdrop behind me. I want it to be on my body, not behind as a curtain. Alright, but so she sent me this, so I took some notes from it and decided I was going to make my own. So I was at Harbor Freight because I gone to Harbor Freight because I bought a heat gun, and the heat gun I bought, it didn't quite work with the attachments I bought. So I wanted to get the heat gun that worked with the attachments. Yeah, that's a little overkill, right? I probably really don't even need the attachments. But they're bigger heat guns, and then I contemplated getting a storage bag to put them in. And so I left it there, and I didn't get the storage bag because I was like, oh, maybe not. Which I should have gotten the storage bag when I was there. But I went to a different Harbor Freight and got a different storage bag. But anywho, back to the story. I had gone to Harbor Freight as I was looking around and getting the heat gun, and then I'd also found like a little plug-in air compressor that plugs into like the cigarette lighter of, or the charging port, I guess, is more like it, of the vehicle for, to plug in my phone. So they had this air compressor, and I got that because I'm like, okay, my husband's leaving, and he has an air compressor in his car that his car comes with. And sometimes I don't want to pull out, like lug out the big air compressor that we have and get the hose and then have to wind that back up and like the plugging it in and everything. Sometimes if I'm going somewhere, I would rather just have the small one. So if there is like a fluctuation of tire pressure, because sometimes that happens, you know, when it's cold weather and then weather gets hot and then it gets cold again. It fluctuates. I live in Utah. Weather is crazy. Alright, well, so I saw a package of towels. So I think it was a package of 12 towels. Yeah, let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, a package of 12 towels, okay? So I got a package of 12 towels for like $5.50. And they're the terry cloth towels, so they're not like the microfiber. I don't know, microfiber, I don't know what the big hoopla about microfiber towels, because you can't do anything with them. You really, they attract all of like the loose threads of everything and everything. Like if you're dusting and stuff, that's one thing, but to try to use it to like dry off your hands or wipe up a mess, they don't work. I'm just saying. But I found these white terry cloth towels. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get those because they're not too long. Like when I use them, the tag is going to be like, kind of like it is. And I just kind of would take, well, let me show you this other side. I'm going to take and fold those two ends together like that. See? Just like that. So they're not overlapping, but they're touching each other. Because this is like a 16 by 14 inch towel. So it's not huge, but it just seems perfect for one of those kind of hand towels that you hang, like can hang on the stove, so that it's not too long. And I thought it was perfect. So I picked up a package of those, and I decided that with that fabric that I got from my thrift store last week, so I did my fabric, like I did my video last week, and I also had that fabric haul with that video that I got from my local Savers. And I decided I needed to use some of that fabric. So I made like 2 of each of these. So here's my first set. And I just used big buttons, and I just picked a different color button for each towel. So none of the buttons like really match on any of them. But we got this one. And then this next set here. And then this one. So I really like how these turned out. It was really fun to make. So I've talked about the towels that I made. I talked about the bean bags that I made. And that I have been cleaning my craft room. I've been cleaning the craft room. And then I also think it was probably last week. It was probably last week I got this. But I got a Happy Mail from JenRen. She is such a great friend. So she sent me the cute little card. It's not one of her homemade cards. But she was doing like a little birthday celebration that she was doing. And she was passing out prizes and gifts for all of her friends and viewers. That I was like, wow. And I also helped her with that zipper that I talked about like 2 weeks ago. Alright, so and she packages things so nicely. She put it in this cute little bag. So the Happy Mail stuff that she sent me, look how cute those little charms are. So we've got like a little acorn, a little squirrel with a little acorn, and then a bigger acorn there, and then a little mushroom pendant, a little owl, and then this other one here. Oh, it's a little squirrel pendant. So it was so cute. I really like this, Jen. And then she also sent me some lace crochet stuff. It's part of the Dollar Tree Crafter Square collection. So yeah, well, thank you so much, Jen. I really appreciate those. And I don't know if I showed them or not at all. But anywho, you gotta see them again if I had. And if not, I'm glad I shared it. But I love it all. Alright. So last night, what kind of happened is I kind of get carried away with watching YouTube videos. And oh my goodness, so many of my friends were doing videos, like their live streams. And all of them I wanted to watch. I could not watch all of them. I couldn't stay on all of their channels the whole time. Oh my goodness, there were so many good people out there. But I did go on to Stephie's channel, ThreadandGlueDesigns. Her name is Stephie. And she was doing a video, a live stream. And she usually has Zena from Zena the Sassy Crafter and JenRen from whatjenren. Scraps? I don't know. But I will link their channels in my description box. So, and I will also link Kathy's channel. So I got on, well, they were maybe 3 hours into their stream. And Stephie was working on a doll. And basically she took bits and pieces of different doll pieces that she's done in the past and kind of threw them together. She's like, well, I don't like that one, but I like that one, so I'm going to take this piece. Oh, I don't like that one, but I like that one, so I'm going to take this piece. So she had these pieces, so she really didn't have actual instructions on how to do it, but she had a basic idea. And I was just itching to get in there and help her out. We were talking and she starts cutting things up. I'm like, oh no, what is she doing? Why is she cutting this up? I love her. I love all of these sweet ladies. So, they're like, Pam, we need you. You need to come show us how to do this. Like, I've made a couple of dolls. I bet I could do this, no problem. So we got on, and it's like, so what do I need to do? I'm like, well, first, let me make up my own pattern. Like, let me draw it out. So I got my, like, pattern tracing stuff that I use. It's probably, like, sew-in interfacing stuff. But I use it for pattern tracing and stuff. I'm drawing my own patterns on. Because this stuff is amazing. And I got, like, a whole bunch of it. You know, and it's my favorite thing to use. Alright, so I went on and I'm using my ruler as she's measuring things out. I'm using my rulers and marking the measurements on the fabric and everything. And so I've got the head, and with the head I actually made it so that this part here is towards the bottom. So it does kind of make this point out a little bit. So I should probably do it this way next time. I don't know. I will see, or just like round that off a little bit more. Trial and error. We'll see what happens. And then the body. So I had the line drawn across, and I added just a little bit, which doing that, it turned out okay, but the neck is a little bit elongated to what you would want. And maybe I should make the shoulders a little bit wider on this. Maybe I should move those shoulders, like maybe, no, I'm not going to make the neck thinner, but maybe measure it out a little bit more so it's not a slope down, but maybe a little bit out and then in. I don't know. But so I'd added this, and I didn't need to have that extra. So if I made another one, I would take off that excess on the top. And then I have the arms, the arm piece, and this is where the fingers are, and this is the top where the shoulder is. And when I was doing it, I'd actually left this edge open. I need to actually leave this edge open, so I'm going to mark that. I'm just going to write leave open on there, like this, because I when I was sewing up the arm pieces, I was like, oh, I should leave an opening and just close off the shoulder because of the way I was thinking. But when I was doing it, I left this edge open, and realizing that that ends up being like this inside, like part of your arm, you know, that shows. And if I had done it, it would have been on the back if I had done it on this back piece. So I think that would have made it look better. And then with the body, I took it and I'll go ahead and okay, so I kind of marked it like from there to there is where you would leave open for the body. And you would leave open the bottom so you could sew the legs in. And then here is the legs. Okay, so this is like the inside part of the leg. So this, alright, so I wrote it down. So this is the outside part of the leg, and the way it curves, it's like the inside part of the leg, so that the legs just kind of go together. And I'll show you what that means in a minute. Alright, so first thing, they were like, well, I sewed up the arm, and they were like, so are you going to stuff it? I'm like, well, I'll stuff it after I do the buttonhole. They're like, a buttonhole? I'm like, yeah, well, you were talking about sewing buttons on it. it's like, what a better way than to put a buttonhole. See, this is what I was meaning. This is where my stitching is. And this is like the inside part of the arm. This is like the back part. So it would have been better to have the stitching on this back elbow instead of on the inside of the elbow type thing, you know. But it all works out. And so the arm, it just kind of links on to, just kind of links onto the dolly. And then I sewed a little heart on it because we were talking about, well, okay, so I have a scrap basket full of scraps. Well, and what I had done is I had this like little, it's almost like a milk crate type of tote, but it's not a milk crate. It's one of those filing cabinet like little totes that you can put stuff in. I used to have other stuff in it, like just full fabrics, but I took those out and I put them on the shelf back there. And so I was like, I know, I'm just going to take and I'm just going to dump some of these bags, because I had some like grocery sack bags, like bags like this, that I just had little scraps in. Like this one, I have scraps of like corduroy, and these corduroy pieces are still usable and big enough to do something with. So I just left them in the bag and I didn't dump them into the thing. Well, I was dumping these bags and I'm like, man, that's a lot of like fabric scraps. You know, and some of them I had like the little like strings, like when I'm like cutting things. Or if I like sew up, like on these, I sewed up the edges and then I took my pinking shear rotary cutter, like this is a little pinking shear, I went along and I cut it. Or I will also use my pinking shear scissors and go along and cut things like the edges and stuff off. And so I did that, and so I have these little strings of fabric that I'm like, well, I could throw this away, but I'm like, that makes perfect stuffing. So, but when I was working on those bean bags, I just set the little strings off to the side on my table. So I took those strings and I took a bunch of other fabric. I was like pulling out these like scraps of fabric and just piling up on my desk and just shoving them into the stall. And then I had these long strings of pieces of fabric. I'm like, look, it looks like the intestines. She's like, yeah, you need to put a heart in it too. And so I thought about trying to shove a heart inside the dolly and, you know, figure that out. Well, I'll take care of that later. I've got a little bit of a string that I need to trim. But instead of like stuffing it inside, because I decided to go get a piece of my fabric, my little velvet fabric, and I cut out a little heart. Well, and I had the fabric folded, and so I was cutting out two hearts at the same time. So I have another heart. So I can make up another little dolly and sew another little heart on it. But so I've got this one sewn up. See, isn't that cute? Cute little hearts. So, you know, you got the legs that move. Alright. Where was I? Little interruptions. But yeah, but look, the legs move. It's so cute. And then the arms move. So nice. So this is what I was talking about with the head. Is that it just kind of makes it look a little oblong. So I, you know, if I had like taken and even that out, that would have been good. Chop off this piece and this piece. Then that would have looked better, actually. You know, that actually looks pretty good when you take out that excess on the sides. You know, you take off that little excess on the sides and it actually looks pretty good. No way to really fix it at the moment, I guess. And so what I had done is I took the, like you've got the body here and you got the head, and I took and I like went it down like that, and I sewed it together, and then it would flip up like that, would flip down, and it would be like that. So yeah, looking at this I can kind of tell how it would look a little bit odd if I had done it this way. Let's see, it may have looked a little better, and they questioned me on the way I was doing it, and if I had thought about it better, I would have realized that having like the square jawline on the bottom wasn't such a great idea. But anywho, I still like how this turned out. Now just to get some clothes for her. But yeah, so I think this turned out pretty good. Having that little bit less of a neckline would probably be optimum, and turning that head around so that it would be more better. Like that little square neck like line there is no good, but switching it up will be good. Alright, well, and the cool part is, look, the dolly sits up on its own. Isn't that cute? It's sitting up all by itself. I love it. It's awesome. It's just perfect. Alright. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay creative. Until next time. Bye now. So while I was editing the video, I decided that I was going to stitch up part of this doll, and I have stitched in the edges. Looks so much better, so I'm happy with this now. Alright. Bye.